What do you do that music?
Yeah, I don't like it. Quinn's working on a piece for us.
Oh, bless him.
We'll see how quickly we get it. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Inauguration Day. What a difference 4 years makes. What a difference. So I have a little show and tell today. I have to show this picture because it's my greatest claim to fame. And let's see.
Keep going. There you go.
Look at that. First of all, look at what a junior senator, then Senator Obama, looks like. He looks like he's about 13. Quinn is 12. I'm somewhere in between them. You know, President Obama's not a lot older than I am. But he's quite a bit younger in this picture than I am now. The funniest part about this picture, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, there you can. The fake plastic
Can
cow.
you see the fake plastic cow in the background? This was at Junker Farm, and our dear friend Nem made a significant donation and got to bring me along. And then we got to the dome where we had to leave our cars and take a bus to Junker Farm. And I said to the person checking us in, I said, could I have brought my 12-year-old? And she said, sure. So we ran back and got him. And I have to tell you, can I take a second to tell this story? So we got to have a private meeting, obviously, with Senator Obama, July 3rd, 2008. Not that I was paying attention. But
what was the weather like?
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. He came out and he said to me, so what do you do? And I said, I'm a freelance writer and actor, because this was before I was at the Arts Partnership. And he looked at me and he said, here? I said, yeah. And he turned to Quinn and he said, so what do you like to do? It was a very funny conversation. He did not know what to do with me. But he had a great conversation with Quinn. And I just remember thinking, my gosh, who knows what could come of that very brief encounter. So I'm remiss in not thanking Nem often enough publicly for enabling Quinn and me to have that unbelievable experience. Then I want to point out my beautiful pearls, which are a gift from Dr. Mary a number of years ago, worn in honor of the first woman vice president, Kamala Harris. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just do a quick Google search on like pearls for Kamala or pearls for Inauguration Day. But she is a prolific pearl wearer, which is part of the sorority from her university, but she has worn them for every pivotal moment of her life, and so millions of women are wearing them today. So if you have some, get them out. And you could also get out your Converse, because, you know, that's her other signature piece. Pearls and Converse tennis shoes.
Good for her.
Good for her. I love the meme going around that says, I will never again wake up and be able to say we've never had a woman vice president. Never again. It's incredible. So I want to read you this thing before we get into the meat of the conversation today. This is from our friend Connie, Duncan, Birmingham. Betsy Birmingham, who was our guest on New Year's Eve. It's Betsy's mom, Connie. I hope I can do this. When I despair, I remember that all through history, the way of truth and love has always won. There have been murderers and tyrants, and for a time they can seem invincible, but in the end, they always fall. Think of it. Always. From Gandhi. And then, America has changed over the years, but these values my grandparents taught me, they haven't gone anywhere. They're as strong as ever, still cherished by people of every party, every race, every faith. They live on in each of us. What makes us American, what makes us patriots, it's what's in here. That's what matters. And that's why we can take the food and music and holidays and styles of other countries and blend it into something uniquely our own. That's why we can attract strivers and entrepreneurs from around the globe to build new factories and create new industries here. That's why our military can look the way it does, every shade of humanity forged into common service. That's why anyone who threatens our values, whether fascists or communists or jihadists or homegrown demagogues, will always fail in the end. Barack Obama. So, you may not agree with my optimism and my immense joy to be done with these last 4 years. You may not agree with that, which is your prerogative. One of the beautiful things about living in this country is you don't have to agree with me. But I get to celebrate today. So I'm going to. All right. Well, I and millions of other people. All right, so our friend Scott Burlingame. I guess he's just my friend. You haven't met Scott. Scott lives in Minot. Scott and I know each other from the nonprofit sector, although he works in health and human services. But Scott posted on Monday a quote from Brene Brown that I thought was really powerful. And it's from her book, Rising Strong. And it says, "Yes, this is what happened. This is my truth, and I will choose how this story ends." And I loved that because it went back to the conversation we had maybe also on Monday, where you talked about you're not ashamed of this piece of your story. No. It's who you are. Yeah. And you clearly talk about it because there is value in sharing the dark, in sharing the less than, in sharing the epic falls and failures, because we all have them. And if we don't share them, then we all tend to think we're going through this alone, like I did when we were in the midst of your addiction. And I think like you did too.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Isn't that amazing?
I had no idea when I went to my first 8 a.m. Saturday morning meeting. It was a men's only meeting, and they said, "Oh, it's really good." And it was. I was a bit worried, but it was just the absolute truth you hear in that room. But there's a couple of hundred people that go there.
A couple of hundred men.
A couple of hundred men, and it was overwhelming, scary, but also it took a lot of pressure off. I think, I am not alone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of help in this room, and there is.
It goes back to what Chelsea said last week in our conversation. Dana, you're not that special. You're the wife of an alcoholic. Get in line. It was a super powerful moment to realize, I'm not unique. I have people who are like me. I have people who've experienced similar moments and can commiserate with me and give me hope and healing, and I can do the same for them. Can I read the expanded part of this?
Yes, because
okay.
It's actually quite powerful.
So this is the larger piece of this Brene Brown quote. When we deny our stories and disengage from tough emotions, they don't go away. Instead, they own us. They define us. Our job is not to deny the story, but to defy the ending. To rise strong, recognize our story, and rumble with the truth until we get to a place where we think, yes, this is what happened. This is my truth, and I will choose how the story ends. Again, from Brene Brown's Rising Strong. Do you want to comment on that?
It goes back to, we got inauguration day today. We had the holiday to celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday, and he was the one that said most powerfully that darkness can't get rid of darkness, light gets rid of darkness. You can be your own light. You can be the light for yourself, and then you go on to help others and be a light for other people. This is what this is about, I think.
Do you feel like you're a light for yourself? That's an interesting idea.
Sometimes, because I have successfully navigated living with my addiction, and it's something to be proud of, I think. And I'd love to say I've helped hundreds of people. I think I've helped like one person.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Mary, that's
and
not
a couple
true.
of people have said, I like it when you speak, and I thought, here we go. Now, it wasn't because you've got a great accent. It's because
you actually are substantive.
Yeah, but they actually, so you nailed it. Thank you. So I am doing I wish I was doing this much. I know I'm doing that much, and I shouldn't gripe. At least I'm doing that. Maybe one day I'll be invited to do a TED talk in front of a couple of thousand people. I might help them. Who knows? So if you're listening and you run a TED talk thing, hello.
Look at this blatant self-promotion coming out of Dr. Mary. I have to say that you're a pretty poor humble bragger to say that you're doing this much.
Oh, right, yeah. No. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it depends how you look
It's
at
a
it.
thing. Let's call it that.
In the Midwest, it's probably a good thing because God forbid you be, proud of yourself and be a tall poppy and take pride in what you've done. But there's no question that your light has shone out for many, many people.
It's kind of you to say
And
that.
there's absolutely no question that it has absolutely, absolutely lit the path for me.
Oh,
So, you've certainly saved more than me, but
well, you've certainly done that for me.
well, that's true. See how I did that? I just owned it. That's true. I have saved you, in some form or fashion. So, I think the point for you.
And I'm practically a vegetarian.
Can you imagine an Irish vegetarian? There are some of them. When we take my mom and her person Bob to Ireland, they're going to be shocked at how
It
vegetarian
is a
it is.
vegetarian-ism,
It's glorious.
and of course non-alcoholic beer. We talked about that, but
I feel like we've skipped off the topic because that's what you do when you get uncomfortable.
I do actually, don't I?
You divert.
I divert.
I'm going to revert, and I'm going to say, where are you stepping away from hard emotions? Where are you skirting around something that you actually need to just own head on?
Oh my God! This actually comes back to own it, or you'll end up with the goal of a dead person.
Yeah, own it or it owns you.
Yeah.
There's today in spin, Jody, our instructor, said, we're going to go to a dark place. Everybody think about a really dark place. And she said, some of you might not have had one yet because there's some really young people. Not that young people can't go through hard things, but, of course, where I first went was February 1st, 2017. But that's not the only dark place I've had. That's not the only emotional hole I have found myself in. In fact, I will tell you that I'm in a little bit of a dark place right now, and it's got nothing to do with Dr. Mary's addiction or sobriety. It's got nothing to do with other things that I've ever talked about with anybody. But I have to own how I feel. I have to own my emotions, good and bad, because they are the light and the dark side of the same coin. So it's all right. It's all right to not always be fine, and to be in a place of unhappiness or uncertainty or fear or anger or whatever emotion you have to be in. When it's not all right is when you don't acknowledge it, when you don't try to accept it, and when you don't just recognize it as a part of who you are. I have been angry for 4 years over the now previous occupant in the White House. And I don't mean like, oh yeah, he's an irritant. I mean angry.
Yeah.
Angry. I own that. Sometimes I don't own it as well as other times, but that is a very real emotion for me, and I know I'm not alone. And clearly, his constituents feel the same way, or we would not have seen the attack on the Capitol. So, my anger isn't righteous and theirs is wrong, necessarily. I mean, we deal with it differently, but whatever. They you know what? You got to give them credit for owning their anger. Man, they put their money where their mouth is. Holy buckets, I've never been that bold. I don't condone it. I don't agree with it. But you want to talk about, I'm going to own how I feel. I'm going to own this moment. For good or for bad, they did. It's kind of impressive in a weird sort of step away from the inappropriate danger of it.
Well, you got to also think, I can't remember, I know a lot of quotes by people, and then I really fail miserably at never remembering who the frick I should thank for this quote in life. Somebody...
Let's see if I can find it. What's the quote?
Somebody once said that the truth is an opinion held by the masses. And if it comes as Terence Benedict Mary, I'm going to be so impressed. Anyway, whoever this was, Dana's finding this out. It's the truth. And the reason I bring this up, I'm digressing a little, is these people that attacked the Capitol, they were holding on to a truth. They firmly believed they were told to do what they did. So my point of this is, be careful who you listen to. Fact check something before you get yourself all riled up to do action. Great things are caused by action if they're done for the right reason.
But
so
then,
be careful what you consider to be a truth.
But the question then becomes, what is right? I mean, so now we've moved Daily Dose into a purely philosophical standpoint.
By tomorrow we'll have some incense sticks.
No, we will not.
And some chanting music.
I believe that, based on my very extensive research I just did, I believe that that is a paraphrase of something Noam Chomsky said. I believe, from what I can tell.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was not your dad.
No, I apologise for quoting a dead white person. Man.
It's all right. Sometimes they said good things.
Yes,
So
they task me.
that is the end of today.
The whole point was, think about what's happening today. Think about truth. Think about being your own light, and see if you can actually do something nice to be a spark for somebody else.
And choose your own ending. You don't have to be a victim of your circumstances. That's a super simplistic way to say it, because there are many circumstances that are infinitely harder to get over than anything I've ever experienced. But you have, to some extent, the opportunity to define how you choose to react to the moments of your life, good and bad. So think through that and own how you feel, and choose your ending wisely. Happy Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow when Melissa Berkland joins us.
I'm looking forward to this.
She's a spouse of Grant Severson, who was one of our early guests, Dr. Severson. So we are really looking forward to hearing from Melissa, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.